Welcome to another episode of Against All Odds. Today we are at the South African National Blood Services, where we have conducted a study on 140 mothers testing blood and breast milk for HIV and hepatitis. A special vote of thanks to Discovery Foundation for supporting our efforts. It's not a question of not wanting to breastfeed, it's usually an inability to breastfeed, which is associated with failing maternal health, mortality and morbidity in this population group that in South Africa is under particular strain. Can we not test breast milk directly for HIV and hepatitis? Must we draw bloods from donor mothers who have already gone through quite extensive invasive procedures?
Well, in South Africa in particular, obstetric hemorrhage is the second largest user of blood products in the country. And when you split that out between public and private, it then becomes even more disparate. So in the public sector, almost 90% of the blood goes to obstetric hemorrhage, and a large number also of apheresis platelets goes to neonates. And this is often because the pre-care while pregnant isn't good enough. By the time they get into hospital to give birth, then there's bleeding and so forth, and so they need large numbers of blood products.
South African maternal health is under incredible strain. Extensive research evidence shows that mothers that give birth in South Africa suffer from placental incompetence, and we do have a high rate of HIV exposure in the mother population of about 31%. This means that the overall impact on maternal health is notable, because HIV comes with opportunistic infections, and it does impact both maternal and child health. And this is where human milk banking plays a key role. HIV exposure and prematurity go hand in hand. Babies are often born prematurely. Donated breast milk is essential to maintain the gut integrity or gut health and to prevent infections that otherwise are debilitating and kill babies. We designed a study in 2 phases. The first phase would have us collect 138 samples from breastfeeding mothers at Kalafong Hospital. So we concurrently collected samples of blood and breast milk, and we delivered them to the blood banks, where Marion's team paired the viral loads in blood and breast milk. So do you want to tell us a little bit about the process of testing when you receive blood and breast milk products? What does this assay look like?
For blood transfusion, we're lucky enough to use the best testing in the world for testing for HIV and hepatitis B. And this is mainly because we are in a country that has such a high prevalence of these 2 viruses. And so because of that, we test serologically for the antibodies as well as for the actual virus or the molecular nucleic acids of the virus. So the testing is extremely sensitive, and that is when we then went into this collaboration with the South African Breast Milk Reserve to look to see whether we could use this testing that is actually been made for blood and blood products, to see whether we could use this test on milk as well, and whether it would have the same kind of sensitivities. So we test multiple replicates at different dilution points. Then using a statistical technique called the probit analysis, you're able then to and you compare this to known standards. You can then determine what is the limit of detection in that material, so in milk. So we know what it is already in plasma, that testing has been done. We want to now see whether the limit of detection is the same in milk, or if it's not the same, what is it, so that you then know at what level you'd be able to detect virus if it was in the milk.
Well, I think potentially if you can test on the milk, the breast milk directly, you obviously improve your efficiencies in screening donor mothers instead of having to take blood as well.
So this is the HIV standard that we're going to be using to inoculate the samples of breast milk which we have brought to the laboratory. And this is how they are presented. Charles, do you want to show us what we're looking at?
Yeah, so they are just standards that are a known concentration of HIV. So what the study is about is we know the limit for detection of this assay for blood, but we are going to use the breast milk to make the dilutions and basically spike the breast milk with this viral material so that we can determine how does sensitivity or limit of detection compare in milk samples compared to what we know in blood.
Thank you very much. So that's exactly it. The blood banks are using this assay to quality manage their blood products, and the question we were asking is, can we use the same type of assay? And this is very interesting if anyone has ever seen a -80 freezer. There we go. It's quite a piece of equipment, right? Part of the protocol which we are now completing and concluding provides that we test both the supernatant as well as the whole breast milk. And for those of you who have heard the word supernatant for the first time, that is the liquid that results from spinning a whole product like breast milk or blood. So you have the liquid component, and then you have, as in the case of breast milk, a fat plug that rises to the surface, because breast milk is rich in macronutrients, protein, fats, carbohydrates, and so on. So, Charles, will you tell us a little bit about what we're seeing and what is happening at the moment?
Yes, sure. So this is our scientist here, Trifina.
Hi, Trifina.
What Trifina is busy doing, we already have some milk samples here. Maybe just let me give you a show you. I think you were talking about supernatant and the different components. So this was already put through a process of centrifugation. We can see the fatty layer on top. Here's the more liquid, watery layer, the supernatant part that we want to test. We're going to make dilutions on supernatant and whole blood, whole milk sample.
Yes.
To see also if there's a difference when we do that part. So we will do both those limit of detection testing on supernatant and whole milk samples.
I think one of the potential benefits of directly testing on the breast milk is using nucleic acid techniques would remove the window period in terms of screening with serological tests on the blood. So potentially there is improvement in the accuracy on directly testing the breast milk itself.
One of our driving objectives was to maintain the integrity of breast milk, and breast milk nowadays is considered a biological system rather than just a food, which makes it a multi-dimensional product with a variety of qualities that are beneficial to the body. And there are more than 50 immunoglobulins in breast milk that support the development of the immune system of the baby. And unfortunately, currently, what we're doing is we're pasteurizing all our breast milk at 62.5 degrees for half an hour. And in so doing, we are also destroying a lot of this biological system, which could, in actual fact, support us in supporting our clients better in the future. And part of the vision is that one day, when we have an algorithm, a complete algorithm for the testing of breast milk directly, we may be able to test a batch of breast milk that we have received from a donor, and by so doing, either engage in lighter forms of processing, or not process the breast milk at all and be able to use the breast milk in its raw quality. But that's still a faraway dream. And it's a dream that we are studying in a country with a very high incidence of sexually transmitted infections. So what we learned today is that blood plays an integral role in the care of pediatric patients as well as in the care of mothers in obstetric care in South Africa, and that the public sector sees the largest portion of donated blood being redirected to mothers that are birthing and to babies that are in the care of hospitals. At the same time, donated breast milk plays an integral role in maintaining the gut integrity and is an essential tissue that we use in the care of very low and extremely low birth weight infants. Please remember that a lot of these products, as we have said earlier on, are really reaching the most vulnerable patients that are in critical care, in obstetric care, in pediatric care, as well as in trauma care. And we are obviously focusing on mothers and babies, but don't forget that donating blood saves the lives of your loved ones, your wives, your children, your brothers, your sisters. So please donate blood, donate breast milk.